What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name's Kyle. Tonight, Monday, October 30th. Happy Halloween to you guys. In this video, it's just going to be about 12 to 15 minutes. We're going to go over my waiver wire report for week 9 here. A lot of quarterback injuries to get into. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to read through my waiver wire report. There is a link in the description, and I'll probably post it in the comments as well if you guys want to take a peek at it. Again, this is Monday as I record this, so I might be adding some things on Tuesday. So I do recommend checking back tomorrow and making sure everything's good to go. But hey, let's hop right into it. And then tomorrow night, Tuesday evening, we'll be doing my live waiver wire show if you guys want to come hang out and get any questions answered that you may need. But let's start with the injuries to monitor. Kirk Cousins, torn Achilles, out for the season. That's a big bummer. We'll see if the Vikings are trading for a quarterback tomorrow. I don't think so. Otherwise, it might be Jaron Hall. Maybe they signed a veteran. I don't know. But unfortunate, we're going to pour one out for Kirk Cousins. Probably his last season with the Vikings here. The Bears already ruled out Justin Fields, so I'm going to update him to out. Deshaun Watson, questionable with that shoulder still. The other one was Matthew Stafford, who hurt his thumb throwing, and he ended up hitting it on a helmet. He might not play week 9. We'll see. It doesn't sound like it's an IR issue, though, so we'll monitor this one throughout the week. Maybe he's back for week 10. I'd be surprised if he does play week 9, but we're still not going to rule that out quite yet. Daniel Jones, questionable with that neck injury. He was cleared for contact, so he's on track to play. Tyrod Taylor is not going to play. He had a pretty bad rib fracture, kept him hospitalized overnight. So I do think we're going to see Daniel Jones in week 9 here. Kyler Murray, we're expecting Kyler Murray back. I'm listing him as probable with that knee injury. Baker Mayfield had a little knee contusion pop up. He's probable. Kenny Pickett, they play on Thursday night, Steelers versus the Titans. So we'll see about Kenny Pickett. Mitch Trubisky did finish that game for him. So we'll see on that one. They haven't ruled him out yet, and they're hoping that he can go, but it might be Mitch Trubisky on Thursday Night Football against Will Levis. Ryan Tannehill, we're going to assume he's not playing on Thursday Night Football either. And then Desmond Ridder with the concussion. They did start Taylor Heineke in the second half. Now we have quarterback controversy questions coming for Arthur Smith. So rough day for quarterbacks. The running backs, not too bad of a day, though. Dave Montgomery, we're expecting him to be back for week 10 after the bye. Kieran Williams back week 12. Devon Achane back week 11. James Conner back week 10. Khalil Herbert could return week 10. And no new running back injuries to note here. So it was a pretty decent day for running backs. Nobody went down with anything serious here besides maybe a nick or bruise or something like that. So I don't have anything new to report at the running back position. Wide receivers, we're going to see JJ return week 10. Who knows now with this quarterback issue? It could be a little bit longer. Deebo Samuel, we're expecting him back week 10 after the bye. Drake London left the game with a groin injury. We're going to watch for his reports. Going into Sunday, he's going to have to practice a couple times for us to be confident in that. Curtis Samuel did leave with a toe injury that let the other receivers kind of go wild here. So we'll watch for Curtis Samuel. He was limited in practice last week with this injury, and then he re-aggravated it. So maybe he misses a game or two. The big one for the wide receiver position was Kendrick Bourne, the wide receiver here for the Patriots, torn ACL, out for the year. We'll talk about some potential replacements there, but yeah, unfortunate. He was starting to put together a really nice season here. Zay Jones, questionable with the knee. We haven't seen him in a while. Robert Woods, questionable with a foot. Devontae Parker did have a concussion in that game here, so we'll talk about Demario Douglas on the waiver wire. Tight ends, Darren Waller, hamstring injury. He could be out for a while. Their bye week's not till, I think, week 13, so he might just sit until week 14. I'm not sure. We'll see if he goes on IR this week. Pat Freiermuth could return week 11. Zach Ertz could return week 12, but I'm not really holding out hope for that. I think Trey McBride is the answer at tight end that the Cardinals are looking for. And then Gerald Everett, questionable with the hip. I thought he was going to play. He was full practice going into the game, and then they held him out. Maybe he's an answer for you this weekend. Just a quick recap here. My favorite ads, and these might change by tomorrow night, but at quarterback, I like Sam Howell. He's top 10 quarterback right now in fantasy. I did like Matt Stafford, but I don't know if he's going to play, so I'm probably going to remove him from the list. Jordan Love is a decent option against the Rams at home. Derek Carr, a great option at home against the Bears, and then Will Levis for Superflex. At running back, you have Gus Edwards, who took over control of the backfield over Justice Hill finally. Chuba Hubbard's the starting running back for the Panthers. Darrell Henderson and Royce Freeman are both going to be, low-end RB2 plays against the Packers, especially if no Stafford in that one. Wide receivers, Jahan Dotson is back. Quentin Johnston, signs of life. Demario Douglas, maybe the Patriots wide receiver one the rest of the way. Jonathan Mingo had some good reports yesterday. And then Khalil Shakir, the second-year receiver for Buffalo. At tight end, you have Trey McBride, Dalton Kincaid, Jake Ferguson, David Njoku. And then defenses I like this weekend that you can maybe pick up: the Saints, the Patriots, and the Falcons. Now let's move into the quarterbacks. I did make a list here of quarterbacks that should be owned. Please, if any of these guys are available, please scoop them up. Otherwise, here we go. We have Jordan Love at the top of the list at home versus the Rams. I know he's 65.6% owned, but you never know. He might be out there. And hey, the Packers offense has not looked good, but Jordan Love continues to put up fantasy points. I think he's QB 14 on the year. He's good for, 14 to 15 fantasy points. He should get a touchdown and a couple hundred yards, and he does move with his legs. So I do like Jordan Love. Not sure if we're going to see Watson. I don't love Geno Smith at Baltimore, but you never know. Now, I do have Matthew Stafford here bolded with a few stars. If he were to play, I don't hate it, but I think I'm going to remove these and kind of make sure that, we're not picking him up to play this weekend because I don't know if he's going to play. But if he were to play, I'm open to it. Daniel Jones at the Raiders, not a terrible play. Kyler Murray at Cleveland, his first game back. I'm not going to throw him out there, but I do think he needs to be picked up. The guy to stream this weekend is Sam Howell at New England. I know it's a tough spot for him to go into on the road and play well, but he has been playing pretty well, and he looked really good yesterday. Baker Mayfield at Houston, not a bad spot here. Otherwise, the guy that I really feel comfortable with is Derek Carr. He's thrown for 300 yards in a few games in a row now. The Saints offense looking okay with a healthy Kamara, Olave, Michael Thomas, Taysom Hill. A lot of options here. Rashid Shaheed, I like the Saints at home against the Bears. And then we'll see about Kenny Pickett. Bryce Young, not a bad spot here at home against the Colts, they've let up 30-some points in the last two games to the Browns and to the Saints here. So maybe Bryce Young and the offense gets right. Maybe Jimmy Garoppolo versus New York. Maybe Gardner Minshew at Carolina. That could be a fun game here. And then we'll see about Ritter. Zach Wilson, not a bad spot. Mac Jones, not a bad spot either. And then the guy for Superflex ads is Will Levis. He could be your low-end QB2 in Superflex leagues. I don't hate him this week. And then I got just a bunch of guys here on the stash list. Tyson Bagent's going to get another start this weekend. You could potentially pick up PJ Walker if someone cut him. We don't know really what's going on with Watson. Maybe Jameis Winston gets a chance. If he gets traded tomorrow, we'll talk about it. But there's a chance that anything happens to Carr. We'll talk about Winston on the waiver wire. And yeah, just monitor a couple guys here. But the one to note is Taylor Heineke. He might be starting if Ritter can't clear concussion protocol, and who knows, maybe he doesn't lose the job the rest of the way. Now, at the running back position, I do have Gus Edwards. The top five guys are all highly owned here, but I'm just going to note them. Gus Edwards and Darrell Henderson would be my pickups. Kareem Hunt, it was nice, but Jerome Ford played yesterday, and it looks like he's going to be back for as long as he's healthy here, so Hunt's back to RB2 duties. Jalen Warren needs to continue to be rostered. He's splitting directly down the middle with Najee Harris. And, hey, Darrell Henderson Jr., he didn't get the touchdown. They gave it to Royce Freeman, but he still had a productive day in the yards, especially, I think, 3 for 54 as a receiver. But my priority would be Gus Edwards and then Darrell Henderson, who I think is going to get the more touches. And it's the Packers defense. They do allow running back points here. I do think Khalil Herbert needs to be stashed. Deonta Foreman probably losing value, especially with Khalil Herbert on the comeback soon. Cam Akers, it didn't really happen. I thought he was going to take over Alexander Madison yesterday here, but it didn't happen. Still worth a stash. Algier worth a stash. Roshan Johnson is still the running back that I'd rather own in the Bears backfield. And then Jeff Wilson finally got some steam yesterday here. He did kind of, close the gap on Raheem Mostert. He might be the RB2 to own. And hey, if anything happens to Raheem, you have something in Jeff Wilson. But after Gus and Henderson, I think Chuba Hubbard is the guy here. He dominated snaps and touches yesterday for the Panthers. So Chuba could be a low-end RB2 flex the rest of the way. Antonio Gibson played well yesterday. Ezekiel Elliott, just a handcuff stash. Mari DiMercado gets another start or two before James Conner comes back. McLaughlin's still a hold. I still like Tajay Spears as a deep PPR flex. And then Devin Singletary, he basically forced a 50-50 split with Dameon Pierce. Pierce had 12 carries. Devin Singletary had 10 carries and 2 catches. So there's, 10 to 15 touches to go around between each back there. Charbonnet got the majority of work yesterday with a dinged up Kenneth Walker. He needs to be stashed. And then again, Royce Freeman should be widely available as a low-end RB2 play. He did get the goal line touchdown yesterday. And then here's a list of just some deep stash handcuffs. You guys can check that out for yourself. Nobody really in particular, but Leonard Fournette did sign today with the Buffalo Bills. So I'll note that. He's going to require some patience. I don't think he's going to take away from James Cook too much. He's going to compete with Latavius Murray out of the gate here for RB2 duties, maybe some third down and some goal line work. Could be Fournette's, but man, it sucks. This kind of ruins the value for James Cook and all the running backs there in general, actually. Moving on to the wide receivers. These receivers here at the top are widely owned, but I need to note Josh Palmer, Rashee Rice, Josh Downs, and Jahan Dotson would be priority pickups if they are available. Guys that are widely available, though, Romeo Doubs continues to play well with Jordan Love, and he's a touchdown machine right now. Tyler Boyd, now that Joe Burrow and the Bengals offense looks back, like Boyd could be of use. Curtis Samuel, he did get injured, but he's worth stashing just in case. I have to remove Kendrick Bourne from this list. When I made it, he was still, I didn't say he had a 20 ACL. So I'm going to remove Kendrick Bourne. We'll talk about some Patriots guys coming up. DJ Chark, Michael Gallup, these guys aren't looking so hot right now. Treylon Burks is back. He didn't get re-injured, but hey, with Will Levis chucking the ball deep, maybe Treylon Burks makes a couple plays on Thursday Night Football for us. Mooney, maybe Juju Smith-Schuster. Now that Bourne's out and Devontae Parker with the concussion, maybe Juju Smith-Schuster has a decent day against the Commanders coming up. And then Quentin Johnson, he didn't have an amazing game, but they got him involved. Josh Palmer was dinged up with an injury here, a knee injury. Maybe Quentin Johnson starting to heat up here. Williams, Zay Jones, Josh Reynolds, Jaden Reed, these guys are all kind of deep stashes. But it's time to add some rookies. Michael Wilson, with getting Kyler Murray back on the outside, he could be a nice play. Jonathan Mingo, 4 for 62 yesterday. He is the number 2 wide receiver for Bryce Young. I think he's an interesting guy that could continue to heat up. Same with Quentin Johnson. These rookie receivers could heat up as the season goes on. And then the guy that I like quite a bit here is Demario Douglas. He led the Patriots in snaps, and I believe targets yesterday. He's kind of like he's kind of Debo-like, but not big. He's kind of like a Rondale Moore type, maybe even Jacoby Myers, because he does operate in the slot. So they ask him to take some handoffs. They ask him to kind of move around the line of scrimmage and be in motion, and they like him in the short passing game here. So Demario Douglas could be the Patriots wide receiver 1 the rest of the way. And then I do have a note here that says, monitor Curtis Samuel injury. Look at Jamison Crowder. The dude put up 22 fantasy points yesterday. So what year is it? Jamison Crowder might be back. And then I got a list of deep stashes for you guys. If you guys are in deeper formats, you guys can check out that list for yourself. At the tight end spot, I do have a list of tight ends that need to be rostered. If any of them are available, please pick them up. Cole Kmet at the top of the list. I just don't trust him. Dalton Schultz, maybe. But with the healthy Tank Dell and Nico Collins, he's probably not too consistent of a target, but you never know. The guys that I like for sure, Dalton Kincaid needs to be picked up. He should have been picked up last week before Thursday Night Football. But Njoku seems to be playing well with PJ Walker. I don't mind him. Not sure about Tyler Higbee in the quarterback situation for this week at least, but Jake Ferguson continues to dominate the snaps and the opportunities for the Dallas tight ends. He did look nice on his touchdown up the seam. He can be streamed in a fun game against the Eagles coming up this weekend. Pat Freiermuth could be stashed if you're waiting for somebody. I mentioned, I think he's coming back week 11 or 12. Logan Thomas, maybe. Going up against the Patriots, I don't know. Chico Okonkwo, now with Will Levis kind of willing to air it out and go deep, he did have 6 targets. He could be a guy that we look at going forward and maybe gaining some steam. Otherwise, it's Taysom Hill. He's just being used so much in especially in the red zone that I think at this point I'm willing to take the 2 or 3 points as a floor and hope for a big play from Taysom Hill. Otherwise, the guy to pick up the week is Trey McBride. He got featured finally. And with Kyler Murray back, we could see some more big days for Trey McBride in the future here. I do want to note Michael Mayer before tonight's game. If he does pop off, he'll be on the list tomorrow with some bolds and some stars. So keep an eye on Michael Mayer. He should have a nice game against the Lions. And then the guy we're monitoring here with the Waller injury is going to be Daniel Bellinger, who could be picked up in dynasty formats. Defenses. These defenses need to be owned, and then the teams at the top here, because they're widely owned, I like them, but hey, the Saints against the Bears, that's a must start. The Browns versus the Cardinals at home, I think that's a must start. And then maybe the Steelers at home against the rookie Will Levis making a second career start. I could see that going well. Now, even though I like Sam Howell in the passing game for the Commanders, they still give up sacks, and good things can happen. It's in New England. I don't mind starting the Patriots D. I'm open to the Packers defense, especially if no Matthew Stafford, and then the Falcons defense at home versus maybe Jaron Hall. That could be a nice spot start here for the Falcons. So a couple defenses that I like here that you guys should maybe take note of. And hey, that's it. That is the waiver wire list. I do have some updates and some things that I'm going to make sure I do after the video here. So check it out. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Again, 7 o'clock Central Time. I go live. We'll do the Tuesday night waiver wire show. So if you guys want to come hang out with me then, we'll see you guys Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Time. Enjoy the game. Peace.